Beatrice Vegas is completely blind. Beatrice Vegas is completely blind. Even if she were somehow able to break into a highly guarded exhibit, how did she slip past the guards and enter Lord Frega's study? Furthermore, how did she locate the letter opener if she couldn't see it in the first place? None of it makes sense. Putting this murder unseen would have been a tall order for anyone. I can hardly believe a blind person did all of this. You do well not to underestimate her, Mr. Cuthbert. You don't know her as I do. She's far more capable than you realize. Be the one behind this. Suppose I wouldn't know. Yet that Beatrice did any of this is still ludicrous. Suppose I can't change your mind about that. But I have to ask you a question, Mr. Cuthbert. What would you do if you discovered that one of your clients was guilty? What? I mean, I tend to have an insight into these sort of things. That would never happen. I've already seen your uncanny ability to read people, but I'm only hypothetically speaking. So, what would you do if they were guilty? I suppose I'd withdraw and tell them to find another lawyer. And if no one else would represent them? I don't know. Definitely be a hard choice for me. But I would never be able to represent them if I knew the truth. I just can't stand by and let a murderer escape justice. I see. Why do you ask? No reason. Okay. Anyways, she's made her stance clear. Still have a lot of leads to follow up on. Should move somewhere else. Alright, Beatrice's bedroom. Which looks... Oh no, the storage room. Is Jan gonna be here? Well, his music is here. Go into the storage room, hoping to investigate the air vent that connects to Lord Frega's study. You come across a person laying on the floor. What? Jan, is that you? Aw, man, what's with all the noise? It's a good nap, too. Mr. Hughes. Whoa, it's you two. Taking a nap in the storage room. I need to take a break from all the chaos going on. The Kingsguard won't let us leave until they finish investigating the murder. This pompous noble shooed me away when I tried sleeping on one of the couches. Didn't expect anyone to find me here. Anyways, prosecutor told us you heard the murder from here during the lockdown. You can tell us what happened. Sure, why not? My nap's kind of ruined anyways. Sorry, man, but duty calls. So, you're working as a servant now? Not exactly, but I was part of the catering staff. Twins started their own food business after Freyga threw us out of the academy. Oh man. Right, sorry about that. Nah, it's not your fault. Even if Redmond was still a headmaster, I'm sure the board would have found some other way to get rid of us. Wait, are Valentina and Valerie here too? No, they just contracted some staff to Lord Freyga for the Lord's Ball. I think a bunch of other businesses did the same thing. Wonder how they feel about this. Not the services of the very man who got them fired in the first place, yeah. William must have offered them a lot of gold. A murderer. Man, can't believe I got pulled myself into another murder investigation. I have bad luck or what? The prosecutor told us that you heard the altercation through the air vents. Could you tell us exactly what you heard? Well, I didn't hear everything. I was taking a nap in this room when it happened. Why were you napping here? I didn't have a choice. I accidentally closed the door when the lock was engaged. Before I knew it, I was trapped here. Right. I recall Steelwind mentioning that. Anyways, I heard the sound of some kind of struggle going on. I could hear everything, but I heard Lord Freyga shout, "Who are you? What do you want?" That went on for a few seconds. Then I heard the sound of someone getting stabbed. Did you hear the voice of the assailant? They didn't say anything, but I did hear them. The voice was really raspy. I think they had a sore throat or something. Had a master voice. Storage room. Why did you enter the storage room anyways? Servants were complaining about rats running through the air vents, so they sent me to take care of it. I heard one of them running in the vents upstairs, then I followed it here. Figured I had no one else to go, so I opened it up and put a trap down. After I was done, I tried to leave, but the door was locked. I didn't have anything else to do, so I took a nap. Fair. Efficient man. He only heard a few words before the murderer struck the final blow. Doesn't give me much to go on. His testimony could become relevant later. For now, probably move somewhere else and get some more information. Noted. Let's check out Peach's bedroom, which looks exactly like Miriam's dorm bedroom. Come on, Tracker. Where are you? Achoo! You enter Beatrice's room, you're unexpectedly met with a large cloud of dust. Wow, this place has not been cleaned. Oh, you're the middle child. Vision clears up, and you realize that there's someone else in the room with you. Sorry, I didn't mean to intrude. No, there's no need to apologize. I would like to know what you're doing here. We're here on behalf of the Crown Prince, investigating the murder of William Frege. Oh, see. My apologies, I didn't quite get your name. Well, I didn't get your name. My name is Leif. Leif Frege. Noble is your occupation. Crazy. So this is Leif. According to Steelwind, she was the last person to see Lord Frege alive yesterday. She might have some information about how he was acting that night. Oh god. Every time I see the psychological profile bar show up, it feels like a Souls Boss health bar appearing at the bottom of the screen. Like, well, it's time to lock in. What did you see? I'm sorry for your loss, Lady Frege. Do you mind if I ask you some questions about last night? Of course. Prosecutor Steelman told us that you were the last person to see him alive. Did you notice anything unusual about your father's behavior? Well, he was extremely upset about something. I think Beatrice may have offended him during their meeting. The fervent said that he wanted to be left alone. He retreated into a study and immediately after their meeting. Tried to speak with him when the theft was reported, but he didn't much care about the missing artifact. He told me to leave him alone and let the Kingsguard investigate the sword. Probably busy making changes to his will. Now that's an interesting thought. When did you speak with him last? Before they activated the lockdown. A little after 1 AM that night. Okay. Alright, so. Beatrice meets with William. William gets mad, presumably, retreats into a study, locks himself, says he doesn't want to speak with anyone. Leif tries to speak with him, tell him about the theft of the Sword of Spell Leading, a little after 1 AM, but he didn't care, and he returned to his business. So yeah, through Leif's thoughts, you know that he entered the study to make some sort of adjustment to his will. Do you have any idea what he was doing in his study? What? No, I have no idea. Detect some fear from her. Frege, is there something you're not telling us? It's important that we know about your father's actions before his death. I'm sorry, I don't know anything else. Father was a private man, and didn't share much with anyone, even his own family. I wish I could be more of help. Really don't know anything else. I just believe that's why he was killed. Clearly holding something back. I feel when she's hiding through an argument, she may be more willing to cooperate, but you need more information about William and his will first. In the meantime, she's figuring out what else she knows. Alright, why are you here? Most of this room hasn't been cleaned recently. You know why? Because I've forbidden the servants from cleaning this room. How would you do that? Beatrice is very dear to me, and I couldn't bear to have her room disturbed after she left. This room was the only memory I had of her after she left. I suppose that makes sense. She may have been holding on to the hope that her sister would return. What about the Sword of Spell Eating? You know how it ended up in this room? I'm not sure. It's possible someone planted it here to frame Beatrice. Can't say why they would choose this room, though. Talk about your dad. What kind of person was your father? That's always fun. Oh, the sadness, rage, and fear. Doesn't look like William Frege was very beloved. Father was a complicated man. He was a brilliant scholar and businessman. He was a cold and distant father. I see. Do you have any enemies? As the head of House Frege, he controlled nearly every banking house in Wyverngard. There were many people who resented his wealth and power. Remember anyone specific? Perhaps someone that he'd slighted recently. There was Lord Von Sanctus. What's this about? Oranax. Yes, I heard that he was recently involved in a court case. My father has been using the controversy as an opportunity to slowly take control of Von Sanctus Industries. Fucking rip. But I've heard he's been extremely bitter about that. Von Sanctus' reputation must have taken a hit after the Dracogen trials. Doubt he'd get himself involved in another murder. You can never be too sure. I want to speak with him and get more details. Although, would he even consider cooperating with you? Anyways, are there any other enemies he might have had? No, none that I can think of. Beatrice Frege. Can you tell me about Beatrice Frege? I heard that she fled the Frege estate 5 years ago. Before she left, Beatrice was one of the most powerful mages I'd ever seen. She is incredible. At the age of 13, her talent of magic had even eclipsed my father's. But it was never enough for him. What? What do you mean? Before my mother died, he desperately wanted a son, but he only ever had daughters. Everyone thought that Beatrice would inherit House Frege from my father, but our family knew the truth. William Frege would never leave his legacy in the hands of a woman. Oh my god. I see. What? How hard Beatrice tried, my father would never acknowledge her accomplishments. He was extremely cruel to her. He constantly belittled her achievements and dismissed anything she said to him. And after the accident, he used her disability as an excuse to take away the little influence she had. He wasn't born blind. Accident. If it's not too painful for you, could you tell me more about Beatrice's accident? Is it even relevant to the investigation? To be honest, we're just like spitballing here. Any small difference can make a difference. Any small detail can make a difference. I need to learn everything that I can. Okay. Maybe she'll take that. I'm sure about exactly what happened. There was a magical experiment gone wrong. Beatrice was working on a project at the Imperial Academy, trying to create a new spell formula. I'm still not sure what happened. There was an adverse magical reaction. The resulting explosion seriously injured her and left her completely blind. I can't imagine how she must have taken that. Actually, she was probably the most unfazed by what happened. That didn't matter. My father saw his opportunity. He told me he was relieving her of her duties so that she could recover. But I knew the truth. He was going to take away her political power and social standing. She was reduced to a mere decoration for our home. And that must have been why she left. Did she contact you during the time she was missing? No, no one heard from her during that time. But as much as I was worried for her, I was also a little happy. Unlike Miriam and I, he had finally broken free from my father. I had no idea what would cause her to return here. Apparently she was in debt. Let's present some things to you. The sword. Security? Her blindness. After being blinded, Beatrice continued to fight for her freedom. About everything that happened to her, she's always remained determined to live her life on her own terms. Remember when she first came back to the estate after her accident? Father was convinced that she'd be completely helpless without her sight. She refused to let her blindness define her. She learned how to navigate the escape using her other senses to continue to study magic. It's ironic, really. My father tried to use her disability as a way to control her. But in the end, the very thing that allowed her to break free. Ah. See a missing sword around? Guess not. Know anything about this murder weapon? How about the lockdown system? Nope. Perhaps Beatrice's side of the story. I'm sure Beatrice's return must have been surprising for you. It is. To be honest, I've been hoping for years that she'd finally return. Now she has. She's just gotten pulled into another one of our family's messes. Aha, gotcha. Well, Leif, Frigga, I challenge you to a argument? What? Can I not? Okay. No. This is the what do I do place. So then... God, what do I do? I'd figured out though. Heck, what's wrong? Can't see it, but the entire room is covered in traces of abjuration magic. Everything is glowing white. Right, that makes sense. There were several anti-magic fields covering the manor. There's probably left traces of abjuration everywhere. I'm boss showing you the traces of abjuration I find while we're here. There.
Repario Arcanum.
Ooh. Traces of transmutation magic under the bed. Can't see it clearly. Let me take a look. It's Crimson Lotus. Whoa, okay, your sword. Sword? What? Her sword had a name. So this is where it's been. Why would it be here? It's also the room where they found the sword of spell eating. Two thefts related somehow. But why? The only thing similar about them is that they're both swords. Definitely more to this. What? Ah. Highly extravagant bed. Looks similar to the one in Miriam's dorm. Yeah, like I said. Just covered in a layer of dust. It doesn't look like it's been touched in years. Table for guests, but it's extremely dusty. I think you've learned everything you can for now. Okay, so that's what it was. Perhaps you should move elsewhere. But I can argue with her. Oh. Okay. The sitting room. Also, this immediately grabbed my attention. Art. Oh boy. Explore the manor further and find one of its many sitting rooms. And there, you happen to spot a very familiar face. Sipping on a glass of wine, and his expression turns disdainful the moment you enter the room. Oh, wonderful. As if my day couldn't have gotten any worse. Bon Sanctus, what are you doing here? Head of a noble house has just been murdered. Can't very well return to Oranax when my affairs are in such disarray. Anyways, forget what I'm doing here. What are you doing here? Oh, I just wanted to have a friendly chat with one of my favorite noblemen. I hear that you've been keeping busy since we last met. It must be difficult losing your empire to House Frigga. You really... We need to get information out of him. This was not the way. Tyrion, we do need his help. That's so. And we see think I'd ever help the likes of you. Because it would take suspicion off you. And let's face it, your reputation, use all the help you can get. How dare you? I hope you know that I'm still a respected member of the nobility. Respected? Is that why everyone is talking about your hand in Justin Way's death? The big nerve? Yeah. The way I see it, being involved in another scandal will destroy what little remains of your reputation. But it makes no difference to me. And to be perfectly honest, I'd like nothing more than to drag you onto the stand and embarrass you a second time. days, Tyrion. You can practically hear him grinding his teeth together. Very well. Means that I don't have to endure your presence any longer. I'll oblige and answer your questions. Surprised that even worked. Before we do, what the fuck is going on here? Debating of some adventures in a tavern. This is a interesting band of people. It's like, okay, you got elf girl, old man, cat person, big dude with like blacksmith gloves. Don't know, you have horns. You're tiefling, maybe? I don't know what you are, a goblin? You got, you're not a goblin, you're like a monkey. You got hand feet. Dude in a Vega mask. Or woman in a Vega mask, we don't really know. This guy's probably supposed to be a dwarf. And then human man. The first. According to legend, she was one of the descendants of the 7 heroes of... Wait, I think I skipped. This must be Beatrice Freyga the First. Okay. One of the descendants of the 7 heroes of Wyvengard. Joined a band of adventurers that were traveling across the nation. It's hard to imagine the Freygas coming from such humble beginnings. Wait. What? Fucking Eris is here. She's rewriting shit. Or she's doing stuff. The big guy's gone. What is it now? That muscular man in the corner. He's vanished. What do you want about? There's never a man there. Sorry, Tyrion. He's right. No, I'm sure he was there. Feeling okay? Perhaps your lack of sleep is making you see things that aren't there. Yeah, alright. Chair made of mahogany. Part of this house exudes wealth. Wealth that's been siphoned out of the common folk. Reach. Rise up. Proletariat. The only thing you have to lose are your chains. It's a shelf filled with books. Fake books. They're completely blank. Well, leads to the coat room.
Repario Arcanum.
And nothing magical. Alright. Talk to me, Von Sanctus. Honestly, just one mess after another with you. Mess? Wouldn't you have much to gain from William Freyga's death? On a surface level, you might be right. It's far more complicated than that. House Freyga controls the banking houses, then the main pillar of support for Wyvengard's economy. William's death could have unimaginable economic consequences, regardless of who inherits his house. I wouldn't be foolish enough to do something like that. That remains to be seen. Think what you will. There are others who would benefit from William Freyga's death. Suspect. You mentioned that other people would benefit from Freyga's death. Who specifically? If I had to venture a guess, I would say Lucio Steelwind benefits the most. Prosecutor's father just said that Lord Freyga's death could have unimaginable consequences for the economy. Ha! Think that brute cares about Wyvengard's economy? No. All that man cares about is power. Pure and physical power. House Steelwind and House Freyga have been fighting for control of Wyvengard for generations. In this long-lasting era of peace, Steelwind's military have become far less valuable to the crown. Or for Lady Steelwind's engagement to the Crown Prince, it might not even be considered a pillar family anymore. The death of William Freyga is probably exactly what Lucio Steelwind has been waiting for. If our economy were to suffer, it would cause civil unrest. In a scenario like that, the Crown would have to rely on Steelwind's forces to maintain order. That does make sense, but can Arya's father really be involved with this? Possibly. Because you think Lucio Steelwind would have much to gain from this, but can you think of anyone else? Well, there is Harold Haraldson. That can't be his real name. What would Mr. Haraldson possibly gain from Freyga's death? What I've heard, William was planning to defund Haraldson's Hall of History. That would... Really? Did he do that? I'm not sure of the specifics. But supposedly, Lord Harrelson has refused to admit the less flattering parts of Wyvernguard's history from his existence. Has refused to omit the less flattering parts of Wyvernguard's history from his exhibits. Gotten blatant enough that he's drawn the ire of the king himself. Actually got into a very heated argument during the Lord's Ball about it. I heard that William declared he would be removing House Haraldson from his estate. You don't want to suspect Mr. Haraldson. You need to examine every possibility. As a curator, he would have the easiest access to the sort of spell eating, and he could have staged a robbery to cover his tracks. At the very least, give Mr. Haraldson a chance to explain himself. Miss Frege, can you tell me about the defendant in this case? What? Your client. Surely you know her better than I. Humor me. Well, I'm sure you're aware that she fled the Frege estate 5 years ago. Doing so, she hit the blow to House Frege's reputation and directly insulted the Crown Prince by breaking her engagement to him. That's what it is. Wait, Beatrice was engaged to Aster? Yes. It was quite the scandal at the time. And Lucio wasted no time in pushing his daughter into taking Beatrice's place. Oh. That's why those three were so awkward last night. Honestly, the situation is just an absolute mess. That woman's return will complicate things. Look at that. Beatrice's return. You find Beatrice's return to be inconvenient for you. What do you want about now? Please, don't insult my intelligence, Von Sanctus. Fine. If you must know, my son was arranged to marry William's daughter, Leif. Leif? Since Beatrice showed no signs of returning, it was apparent that Leif would inherit House Frege instead of her. I know all my days are numbered, so took preemptive action. William wanted a male heir, and I needed to preserve my house, so we both came to an accord. My son and Leif were arranged to be wed. House Von Sanctus would have been absorbed, but at least my Jaden would stand at the helm of House Frege. Nobles are awful. Probably consider myself lucky. Think what you will. I wouldn't expect a commoner to understand. The problem with your generation. You have no sense of duty or obligation. Alright, old man. I'm gonna get your wheelchair for you, Von Sanctus. Grab your dentures for you, maybe. Leif has already expressed resistance to this marriage, even though she was well aware of the details. Now I shall hide behind her sister to end the engagement altogether. This engagement has been added to your notes. Leif's. I keep saying Leif. Leif. Leif never mentioned any of this, and as much as you hate to think it, William's death would get her out of this arranged marriage. I don't think she murdered her father to get out of the marriage. Talk to her about this. Anyways, Von Sanctus gave you a decent list of suspects. Probably learned everything you can from him. For now. Just to move and follow up on these leads. Let me guess. Back to Beatrice's... Oh, wait, no, it's gallery. Turn to the gallery and see a legion of knights inspecting the crime scene. However, I don't see Mr. Haraldson anywhere. The Inquisition must be questioning him. Perhaps you should follow another lead while you wait for him to return. Okay. We need to go see Leif. Ah, okay, now I can argue with you. Leif Frege seems to be hiding what her father was doing in his study. Doubt that she's doing this out of malice. She might not even think that it's relevant to the case. William Frege had many enemies, and retreated into a study to do something that night. And that something could be related to why he was murdered. I challenge you to an argument. Is there something you're not telling us, Leif? What is your psychological profile? I spent Leif Frege today, and she has no reason to trust you. She believes in Beatrice's innocence over everything else. She's usually sincere, so it's unlikely that she's actually involved in her father's murder. She might react well if you respond with similar sincerity. It's a feeling you know more than you're letting on. What? What was your father doing in his study? I already told you. I don't know. No idea what my father was doing. My father was a private man. He wouldn't share something like that with me. So I have no idea what my father was doing. What that you did know what your father was doing? I actually don't know. Not the artifacts. It's not a murder weapon. Not the rats in the vent or the method of entry. Hopefully, yeah, it's some idea of what you're doing. Tyrion only really proves anything. Actually, we best to try something else. Proof that she had some idea. Oh, well, okay. Maybe if I read better. He's making some sort of change to his will, wasn't he? What? Someone else tell him. Why did you find the need to hide this from us? I didn't. As you saw earlier, seemed to disagree with that. Only just met today, so I understand if you don't trust us. The Inquisition thinks that Beatrice murdered your father, and they claim that she did so for his inheritance. Absolutely absurd. Regardless, your father's inheritance is a likely motive behind his murder. Many people would have a lot to gain from his death, including you. Excuse me? Not involved in this. How could you even think that I'd be capable of something like this? This is pretty good. Oh, fuck. I'm not so sure. You're the last person to see your father alive. It's possible that you've been lying to us. Oh, God, what? That's... Right, she has a point there. You mean to imply that you were involved in this, but it's clear that the murder's motive was to take control of House Frege. Fuck. Are we gonna lose an argument for the first time? You imply that you were involved in this, but it's clear that the murderer's motive was to take control of House Frege. It means that their plan heavily relied on who William Frege was leaving his assets to. So I need to know, it's Frege. Was your father planning to change his will? I don't know. I'm aware of the details of my father's will. This is really annoying. Nothing pops. Like, it's obviously not these two things. These are the maps, this is the autopsy, and this features his blindness. I can only, you know what? We might... First time I've saved during an argument. Nope. Not it either. Where is it? Here. That's not it. Can I not save here? Alright, well, send it. Yeah, no. How does that... He didn't share the details of his estate with me. Fuck. Not will. State. That really true, though. What? I don't know about your arranged marriage to Jaden Von Sanctus. I also know that was as a part of this deal. Jaden would inherit House Frege instead of you. definitely knew about this, and heavily resisted the marriage in an attempt to stall it. It means that you had some idea of how your father's will was arranged. So what aren't you telling me, Miss Vega? I can't trust you. What? You are here on behalf of Crown Prince Aster. Four pillar families and the crown have much to gain from my father's death. How can you assure me that this information won't be used against my family? So that's why she's been so secretive. Yeah, I was like remembering her profile. Respond with similar sincerity. Nothing I can possibly say to make you trust me. But please understand, I'm only trying to find who murdered your father. To do that, I need to know everything that he was doing that night. Here you go. Argument barely won. That's what that should say. Trust you. Somehow, I can tell that you're being sincere. Really protect Beatrice. I have to reassure her that you will, but something in the back of your mind stops you. I'll get to the truth of what really happened. That's all you can promise. Don't promise anything else, buddy. Okay. It's truly what you're planning to do. I'll tell you what I know. What are you doing? I was trying to be uncooperative, but I didn't know who I could trust. In the circumstances, that's perfectly understandable. Not sure why, but my father was extremely upset that night. According to him, Beatrice had returned and was even more impudent than before. Angry about something she said during their meeting. Tell you what their meeting was about? He didn't. Honestly, didn't really care. I was so happy that my sister had finally returned. My father clearly felt the opposite. Before he entered his study, he told me that he would be pruning the family tree. So to disinherit my sister and several other members of our family, so he didn't do it yet. And Frega's inheritance. Has anyone found the draft of this will? No. It's one of the first things I looked for after the investigation began. Modified will is missing. Doubt that it would even be enforced. He never got a chance to submit it for probate before he died. You can't discount the possibility that the murderer destroyed it. Did anyone else know about this? No one. Didn't even tell Lady Steelwind when she was questioning me. Ooh boy. This case is becoming a quick mess. I can see why Tyrion jumped in. Leif Frege. Is there anything else that you're hiding from me? Anyways, thank you, Miss Frege. Cuthbert, yes? My sister is not a bad person. No way that she'd do something like this. By what she says, she seems to have some doubts. She's in good hands. Maybe Timora is the one defending her in the trial, after all. I hope so. Anyways, you think that you've learned everything you can from Leif. Only one last person to speak with. Harold Haraldson. Alright. Back in the gallery. It's a complete mess. He's afraid. Okay. You enter the gallery. Spot Haraldson inspecting the shattered remnants of a display case. Call correctly. The display case that he's looking at once held the sword of spell eating. Also, the intellect armbands and intellect are gone. Oh, Mr. Cuthbert. I had a feeling I'd be seeing you again. Here's the Crown Prince. Trusted? Seems word has spread about your deal with Aster. Hello again, Mr. Haraldson. Harold. Right. Harold. Sure you already know that I'm investigating the murder of William Frege. The prosecution suspects that someone used the sword of spell eating to break into Lord Frege's room. I'm wondering if I can ask you some questions about the theft last night. I'll tell you what I can. I'm not sure how much help it'll be. Artifacts. Can't believe a museum owns such a powerful magical item. I would expect the noble houses to take them for themselves. Well, the ability of today don't have much use for items such as these. Power of a lord is based on politics rather than the magical strength. And a noble wouldn't want to wield the sword of a demon, even if the legends are just stories. Demon? Oh, right. Sword of spell eating is said to have been forged from a pact between the demon and the mage. Making a pact with a demon just asking for trouble? They definitely betray you the first chance they got. Well, let's just say the demons often drafted blood contracts for this reason. Wait, do you mean like a legally binding contract? Yes. The concept is similar, but once you sign a blood contract, both you and the demon are magically compelled to fulfill its terms. That violating its term would result in instant death for the offender, no matter who it is. Looks there's some protection. Yeah, but that's when you get into loopholes and fine print. Well, as an attorney, I'm sure you understand that it's possible to exploit and use loopholes in any contract. Yeah. And according to legends, demons take great pride in their ability to deceive and corrupt people. Theft. According to the prosecution, the theft took place during the Lord's Ball. Shouldn't there have been plenty of witnesses in the gallery at that time? That's the strangest thing. Supposedly, the gallery room was completely empty when it happened. What? Can't be right. But honestly, I have no idea how anyone could produce enough magic to shatter the display case anyways. The wards protecting the case that powerful? They were powerful, but that's not the issue here. It would be one thing to dispel the wards and remove the glass protecting it, but it's nothing entirely to completely annihilate the objuration wards and shatter the glass. Doing something like that would require an extremely powerful spell, far more powerful than would have been needed. Interesting. Saying that the force applied was excessive. Yes, and that's not the worst of it. The sword of spell eating wasn't the only item that was stolen. Yeah. Also, hi, monkey. What? Is that artifact stolen that night? You mentioned that another item was stolen. Yes, extremely concerning. After the sword of spelling was reported missing, I checked the other exhibits. That's when I discovered that the armbands of intellect had been stolen as well. And unlike the sword of spell eating, we still haven't found the armbands. The glass case where the armbands used to be. They've been removed, but the glass case is completely intact. The thief didn't shatter the glass. Exactly. Moreover, the armbands were actually replaced with a very well-made replica. What? So one, oh boy. What's going on here? Two thefts are completely different from one another. They're related? Or did two different thieves coincidentally steal from Harold that night? Mentioned that someone would have needed a powerful spell to shatter the display case. Wouldn't that narrow down the list of suspects for the theft? Not everyone attending the ball could cast spells that powerful. Well, according to the Inquisition, Beatrice Frega's magic was powerful enough to have done this. Discounting the fact that she's completely blind. Yes, well aware of that. It doesn't sit quite right with me either. Is anyone else at the Lord's Ball capable of matching Beatrice's power? Only the heads of the four pillars could have invoked magic this powerful. Von Sanctus? Apparently, Beatrice is an exception to that. Beatrice really that powerful? She's being scapegoated by one of the house leaders. Cases can be opened normally, can't they? Otherwise, how would you transport the artifacts from place to place? Ah yes. Magical locks on the case can be disabled. Here. Hiding something. How are they normally disabled? They can be turned on and off using a spoken password. How many people know this password? Only myself. I personally oversee the transport of these items when they're moved. Alright, noted. So Harold could have stolen more that night. Could he have staged the robbery to cover his tracks? Yeah, he does have a motive, but let's see. Harold. Witness told us that you got into an argument with William Frege on the night of the murder. Was William Frege planning on defunding the Haraldson Hall of History? Oh boy. Yes, he was. He made that very clear. That doesn't mean that I had anything to do with his murder. I'm saying that you did, but I need to explore every possibility. So, I need to ask. Your argument that night turned hostile. I'll admit that our discussion turned heated, but it never escalated to threats or violence. How insulting he was. Should have. Okay, so it didn't. William was being unreasonable, but I was frustrated. That's all there was to it. Deserved what happened to him. Damn! Do you have any conflicts with him prior to that night? We have had disagreements in the past. He was receiving pressure from the royal family about what I was displaying in my museum. Except here we are. King believed that some of my exhibits were too controversial for the public eye. What do you mean? I'm sure you've noticed the rising tensions between the common folk and the nobility. I never want to shy away from the bloodier past of Wyverngard's history. Citizens must know about these parts of history, otherwise, we're liable to repeat them. However, the king believed that my historical exhibits did nothing but dig up old wounds. But simpletons, a lot of them. Nobility thinks they can smooth public relations by censoring history. They couldn't get any worse. Anyways, it's good that Harold is passionate about his work. That passion drive him far enough to commit murder, though. Thank you for your time, Harold. Harold. I think we'll be on our way now. You have a lot of info, but none of it really leads anywhere. So you had a motive to murder William Frege, but who actually did it? Perhaps you should take some time to review everything that you've learned. Alright, go through it. Motives aside, let's go over the events that happened that night. It all started when the Sword of Spell Eating was stolen. We know about the thief of the Sword of Spell Eating. We don't have a specific suspect, but we do know something about him. Yeah, the thief is a powerful mage. Easily. Just like that would require an extremely powerful spell, far more powerful than would have been needed. Powerful mage. The only way they could have shattered the magically reinforced glass. What about Harold? He could have just unchecked it using his sword, while using his password. He could have stolen the sword and staged the robbery, but he couldn't have had shattered the glass. Only a powerful mage could have done that. Now Harold would lie about that when we could easily confirm it with Steelwind. Right. What happened next? They brazenly stole the Sword of Spell Eating. This caused Harold to report the theft to the Kingsguard. Eventually found in Beatrice's bedroom, led them to believe that she had stolen it. That's correct. The Kingsguard moved to arrest her, but Prince Aster ordered them to step down. And there's Leif's statement. Father was extremely upset about something. I think Beatrice may have offended him during their meeting. The servant said that he wanted to be left alone. He retreated into study immediately after their meeting. Tried to speak to him when the theft was reported, but he didn't much care about the missing artifact. Or they activated the lockdown, lit after 1 p.m. 1 a.m. What's this telling us about William Frege? This account gives us a clear fact about when William died. So he died after the lockdown was activated. William Frege was murdered after the lockdown was activated. This means that whoever killed him bypassed the lockdown and broke into the magically locked room. They had to have used the sword, right? That's likely, but not necessarily true. An anti-magic field would have also had the same effect. The murderer could have stolen the Sword of Spell Eating to throw off the investigation. But anti-magic field is a high-level spell. How many mages would be able to cast it? And I doubt any of the nobles here will let us see their spell compendiums. But because of how powerful anti-magic field is, we can still conclude that the murderer is a powerful mage. Actually, there was on our list of suspects. Not concrete evidence, though. I haven't even spoken to all the suspects yet. Right, never got a chance to speak with Lucio Steelwind. Given his status, I wonder if that would even be possible. Either way, it's a good start. It's not as if we're defending this case. Trial's getting close anyways. Without Miss Timora's abilities. You should share what you've learned with her before the trial begins. A little strange you haven't seen her since the investigation began. She might be meeting with Beatrice at the dungeon. Nice. Oh, Inquisition dungeon. You arrive at the dungeon and search for Miss Timora. She wasn't at the crime scene. She must be here to discuss the case with Beatrice. If that's what you thought, you don't see her anywhere. Oh? Cuthbert? Oh, hi. So caught up in your thoughts, you didn't notice that you were walking right in front of Beatrice's cell. How did she know that it was us? She's blind. Alright, anyway, here's creepy lady. Eris, you're fucking with my mind. Thus lets out a shriek as Eris approaches you two from behind. Just a second, you see her hand dart towards her sword. Because that she still hasn't gotten over her instinctual fear of Eris. Eris, what are you doing here? Beatrice is actually an acquaintance of my father. He sent me here to help her through this ordeal. That brings up many more questions, but you don't really have time to pull on that thread. You have less than an hour before the trial begins. You need to find Miss Timora. If either of you see Miss Timora, I have some things to share with her. She was just here. She'll have to retrieve some documents from her office. You have any idea when she'll be back? She didn't say. If your discussion has something to do with the case, I could pass a message on to her. I feel a little hesitant for some reason. It is her life on the line. If anyone should know about what you found during your investigation, it's her. Okay, let me tell you what I know. Spend some time going through your findings with Beatrice. There's the suspects, the possible motives behind the murderer. Notice that with each revelation she becomes more uneasy. You know, someone framing her must be stressing her out. I see. You've certainly been very thorough. Yes, but I still have no concrete evidence that points to anyone. Underestimated him. If he reveals these findings to Prince Aster, he might suspect something. What? Sorry, I was just deep in thought. And you were able to catch one of those thoughts. Beatrice, I'm sure you're aware that Prince Aster has your best interests at heart. I know, even though we haven't spoken for the last 5 years. I still consider him a dear friend. Then I suppose you have no issue with me sharing these findings with him. Of course not. It's bad, even he wouldn't support us if he knew that I was involved. Wait, that? Nasha said that she was involved. She actually murdered her father? Don't think she murdered her father, but she was clearly involved, as her thoughts said. Something wrong, Mr. Cuthbert? You look a little pale. Beatrice was actually behind this? But how? Completely blind. She couldn't have navigated through the manor and avoided the guards. No, you must be taking your thoughts out of context. That's it. Cuthbert, perhaps you should get some rest. You're dreadfully tired. Very careful. You think very carefully about what to say next. There's one way to get a certain answer through the eye, but if you're wrong, Beatrice, you weren't actually involved in this, were you? Tyrion? See her gaze narrow in response to your question. Once again, she claps her hands together. She's clearly trying to stay calm. You suspect me now, Mr. Cuthbert. You didn't answer my question, Beatrice. I was ready even to justify it with a response. But no, Mr. Cuthbert, I was not responsible for my father's murder. At least, not directly. I was technically an accomplice. Accomplice? She worked together with someone. Cuthbert? Miss Timora. The mentor seems to have sensed the mood in the air. She raises an eyebrow at you. Miss Timora, can I speak with you alone for a second? Okay. What's wrong? Is everything okay? Timora, Beatrice, she actually did murder William Frege. Miss Timora's gaze narrows. Her eyes dart around the room to make sure the guards didn't overhear you. What are you talking about? How could you possibly know that? I used the Eye of Horus on her. She conspired with someone else to orchestrate William Frege's death. Ooh boy. told anyone else about this? No, sounds like they believe me. Anyways, you're only the person who knows about my abilities. Okay, just stay quiet about this for the time being. Anyways, I need to get ready. The trial starts in half an hour. What? I'm seriously going to defend her, are you? Of course I am. I'm her attorney. She's guilty. I saw it. Look, at this point, I don't know what you saw. You think I just abandoned my client minutes before a trial? No, but not for either of us to decide who's guilty and who's not. Everyone has a right to an attorney. This is true. Our court system needs a defense attorney and a prosecutor to keep things going. More importantly, you had no right to use the Eye of Horus on my client without my permission. What? But I don't have time to argue about this. We will be talking about this later. Okay, Mom. We have a chance to respond. Tamora walks away. So sees both of you and awkwardly approaches you. Hey, Tyrion? Everything okay? I think Beatrice was actually behind this. What? Don't blame her for not believing you. It's not as if you can tell her about the Eye of Horus. Although, why haven't you told her? Alright, I believe you. What? You wouldn't say something like that if you weren't sure, right? What you're saying is true. What do we do now? Long and hard for a moment. I don't think we need to do anything. What? The one is handling the prosecution, and she's definitely no pushover. Beatrice is truly guilty. I'll just trust her to get the job done. Either way, I don't think we're in a position to get involved. Alright, say so. Really none of your business. You have no stake in this. You're not obligated to do anything. You've done everything you can. It's in their hands now. Yeah, this is the beginning of the case. None of your business. He's been saying this all case. This isn't your fight. William Frege was a tyrant and a bigot anyway. The noble who did nothing but steal wealth from the common folk. The world is better off without him. It's not as if you didn't try. All you have to do is wait for the trial to run its course.
Objection!
Yeah, boy. We wind up back here. Your Honor, I'm afraid you can't pass a verdict just yet. Mr. Cuthbert? Cuthbert? What the hell are you doing? I don't know, and this is where it ended. But what I do know is that there was a massive contradiction in Miriam Frege's testimony. Who are you kidding? As if you were ever the type of person to stand by and do nothing. There we go. Alright. Trial time. We're gonna go for like another hour and a half. Whoa, okay. Your Honor, the prosecution... I would like the right to cross-examine this witness. Your prosecution, that's not really like... Bailiff, please arrest Mr. Cuthbert. I'm holding him in contempt of court. Oh, wait. You didn't really think this through, did you? Instead of following his orders, the bailiff walks over to the judge's podium and whispers something into his ear. What? I see. Very well then. They're saying, here's the Miss Steelman has somehow predicted that this would happen. In accordance with her wishes, Mr. Cuthbert may act as the prosecutor in her stead. The hell? You can't be serious. I'm honestly just as surprised as you are, Miss Daimora. But Miss Steelman has apparently designated him as her stand-in. Unorthodox, but it's also legal. Alright. Recall something strange Steelman asked you earlier today. That's what the question was about. What would you do if one of your clients was guilty? She was testing him. Okay. Steelman, did she somehow know this would happen? Well, this isn't how I expected the trial to go. Shortly after you barged onto the prosecutor's table, Celeste awkwardly followed behind you. Big surprise to me as well. I mean, yeah, I was a little suspicious about the question when she... Whoa. Otto, you good? Okay. When she asked, it was like, what would you do? But also, we need a trial to play. So surprising, not too surprising. Shortly after you barged onto the prosecutor's table, Celeste awkwardly followed behind you. Curiously, she only did so after the bailiff didn't arrest you. Not curiously, smartly. I guess we're really doing this. Wrong. This feels weird. We're on the other side of the courtroom. I mean, this is where the prosecution is supposed to stand. No, this feels way too jarring. Ruby, can we switch tables? What? Please ignore her. No, this is way too weird. Tyrion, get her to switch with us. Celeste, for the love of, I genuinely do not care. Cuthbert can have this side if he wants it so badly. This is this is stupid. With that out of the way, let's resume proceedings. Assuming that we're all at our preferred spots. We are, Your Honor. As much as you hate to admit it, you are more comfortable here. Not that you want to encourage her. All these interruptions, I think it's best to review the proceedings up until this point. The prosecution proposed that Beatrice Frega's motive for the murder was to claim the victim's inheritance. However, the defense brought forth a witness who testified that Beatrice was disinherited by her father years ago. Am I correct, Miss Dimora? You are, Your Honor. Very well, considering the circumstances, I think it's best to have Lady Frega repeat her testimony. Bailiff, please escort Lady Frega to the stand once more. Miss Frega, could you please give your testimony to the court once more? Of course. One day, we all woke up and discovered that Beatrice had fled from her home. A note for us, sure that's the name, but yeah, it's the same. All your thoughts because we ever chose to go on the same path. She did, he wanted to make an example out of her. All happened 5 years ago. Exact same. His father disinherited Beatrice shortly after her departure. Yes, he did. As such, Beatrice would have no motive to murder her father. Any inheritance she could have received would be long gone by the night of the murder. Really true, though. No, as we learned during our investigation. Here it is.
Objection!
Frega, it's clear that you're regretful of how your eldest sister was treated. That guilt must have eaten at you for all these years. Cuthbert, I know you don't have a good history with the witness. You shouldn't rub salt in her wounds. I was merely pointing out the witness's personal connection to the defendant, Miss Dimora. She clearly regrets not standing up for her sister after all those years ago. So perhaps she's trying to make up for that. By lying to protect her. Excuse me? I did nothing of the sort. Miss Frega, you testified that your father disinherited Beatrice 5 years ago. However, I have testimony from another witness who spoke with the victim on the night of the murder. After Beatrice's meeting with William Frega, he openly declared that he would be removing her from his will. He even entered his study to draft a new will to reflect that decision. So that raises the following question. Why would the victim need to declare that he was a disinheriting defendant? It makes sense if he had already disinherited 5 years ago. Is that so? Well, who did you hear this from? It's clear they had no understanding of my father's estate. They had no understanding? Miriam, this testimony came directly from your sister, Leif Frega. What? And she should have also been present during the alleged meeting 5 years ago. But, well, she must have been mistaken then.
Objection!
Ooh. Now, how can we trust a second-hand testimony from a witness who isn't here? Wouldn't it make more sense to have Leif give her testimony directly? I must agree with you, Miss Dimora. Frega should be allowed to clear up this misunderstanding. It's way too confident. Is she planning? Not sure if it was intentional, but Miriam's testimony was false. Should she be lying to protect Beatrice? And if so, is Miss Dimora expecting Leif to do the same? Bailiff, please escort Leif Frege to the stand. God, it's gonna keep getting me, isn't it? Miss Frege, when we spoke earlier, you mentioned that your father decided to disinherit Beatrice. And he decided this after their meeting on the night of the murder. Is that correct? Yes, I did say that. See, Leif, Cuthbert doubts the testimony given by your younger sister. He seems to think that she's committed perjury. What? I wouldn't go so far as to say, witness, lying under oath is a serious crime. It would have harsh consequences, even for someone of your sister's status. No, she couldn't have... Wonderful. Are you saying that you can corroborate your sister's testimony? Miss Timora, you can't just intimidate the witness. I have no idea what you're talking about, Cuthbert. I'm just telling the witness what may or may not happen depending on what she does next. Choice is ultimately hers. God. She's scummy. Man. So, Leif, assuming Miriam wasn't lying under oath, could you please testify to the court to confirm what your sister said? Yes, of course. Miriam was quite young when my father called us into a study 5 years ago. He didn't understand what he was really doing. Father would often lie to us. It was one of the many ways that he kept us in line. The encounter Miriam describes was another one of his lies. Despite the disagreements, my father would never disinherit Beatrice without a good reason. He always held on to the possibility that she'd become desperate enough to return home. The truth is that none of us knew what my father was planning for House Frege's future. See, Cuthbert, the truth is much more complicated. No one could have really known what William Frege was planning for his estate. Leif is definitely trying to cover for Miriam. Miss Timora is playing her like a fiddle. Luckily for you, she's not the only person that gave her statement to you. What is he talking about? Ah, this. For engagement. Objection! Frege, did you really have no idea about House Frege's future? No, I didn't. Father made sure of that. I told you, he had many secrets and wasn't above lying to manipulate us. But with Beatrice gone, you would have been the one to inherit your father's estate. Would you really be ignorant of your father's plans for House Frege? Unfortunately for you, I don't think you'd be that careless. In fact, I have it on good authority that you knew exactly how William's inheritance would be divided before that night. What? Leif, according to Lloyd von Sanctus, you were arranged into a diplomatic marriage with his son. You expressed resistance to this arrangement, am I correct? I have no reason to comment on that matter. Cuthbert, the witness's personal matters are hardly any of our business. Yes, I must ask that you keep this discussion relevant to the case. Your Honor, Leif's resistance to this marriage is exactly how I know that her testimony is false. She was extremely adverse to this marriage, and because of that, she made sure to know every detail about how it would affect her and her house. And that includes how House Frege would be inherited by her future husband. That raises the question, Leif. If you already knew the intricate details of this marriage, why would your father tell you that he was disinheriting your sister? That statement would only make sense if Beatrice was already in his will beforehand. That would render Miriam's testimony false and constitute a motive for the defendant.
Objection.
You present a decent argument, Cuthbert, but your claims rely on one assumption. And what assumption would that be, Miss Timora? Even if he was lying, the victim declared that he was revoking Beatrice's inheritance. She must have already been named in the will previously. Otherwise, there would have been no need for him to say that. It wouldn't make any sense otherwise. That's where your assumption is. You're assuming that William Frege was acting logically. talking about. It's clear that William Vega was extremely controlling of his daughters. By her own admission, Lady Frege was resistant to the marriage arranged by her father. In addition to that, Miriam Frege found herself wrapped in controversy regarding the Nightgrave trial a few months ago. And finally, to make matters worse, Beatrice Frege, the prodigal child, finally returned home and made a public appearance during the Lord's Ball. Trying to insinuate. In his eyes, William Frege's ability to keep his daughter in line was clearly weakening. He must have gotten desperate and made a grand declaration in a feeble attempt to scare you, Leif. Even if that declaration was clearly inconsistent, but he wouldn't. The ability to remember must be muddled by the shock of your father's death. His statement couldn't have possibly been true. If by some chance it were true, that would make you guilty of perjury. Perhaps it was Miriam that was lying in her testimony. If your father's statement were true, the court might be inclined to investigate her for lying on the stand. This fucking... God damn it, Timora. Miss Timora, are you threatening her? As I said before, I am merely stating the facts. The witness is free to act as she sees fit. I'm just asking her to consider the potential consequences of what she says next. Ew. Damn it, she's pressuring Leif to side with her. She's clearly conflicted though. Is there anything you can do? Feel a sense of clarity when you look at her. Have her horrors reacting to her stress? You wonder. I'm sorry, I need time to think. Don't stare at me like that, Mr. Cuthbert. Wait a minute. No, wait. It's too late. Not can remain concealed. We didn't have it last case. Did it. You activated the empowered eye. There has to be something in our mind that you can use. The state of her father's inheritance is the backbone of your case. Is there anything in her mind that can definitely prove what was on his will? Okay. The inheritance. The engagement. I just hate to admit it, this trial is a perfect opportunity to back out of the arranged marriage. While Sanctus's holdings were weakening by the day, I doubt he'll be able to put up much resistance. Once Beatrice inherits the estate, we might be able to rebuild our family. Confidence makes you certain of what was in will. How do you prove that? Oh, same thing. Okay. Need to make sure that I tell the truth without harming Miriam or Beatrice. Beatrice couldn't possibly have done this, and I'm sure Miriam also has her reasons. They don't rely on me back then. They can now. Beatrice, after all these years, you finally returned. I can't believe this is how things have ended up. Only I was as strong as you. Under this. He is under a lot of stress. Spell eating? How did both of the swords find their way into Beatrice's room? Would Tracker have... No. Boy's sword is one thing, but he could possibly have broken into the Haraldson gallery. Though, he was extremely fixated on it. What? Does she know how Celeste's sword was taken? If you want to follow that lead, it will be all be nothing if you can't turn around in your favor. That is interesting. Okay, yeah, and same with the other sword. Maybe the map? What am I thinking about this? Yeah. Kinds of intellects. The lockdown. Poof. Oh, anti-magic field? Oh. Why would Miriam say these things? I'm misremembering what happened. No, I would have remembered something like that. If you're trying to protect Beatrice. Miriam's testimony was a conscious lie. Beatrice's inheritance wasn't revoked until the night of the murder. Ah, okay. You want me to do profiles too. Finally returned. Can't believe this is how things have ended up. Okay, yeah. Thing. About your dad. Father, we had our differences, but I did love you. Never wanted you to die. I was regretful about his death. Recounted earlier, you know that Beatrice had an accomplice. I thought that was the Leif. Timora. I've heard stories about her. But to Beatrice to hire someone like her. I wonder if she'll be at the will reading tomorrow. Will reading? We're talking about William Frega's will. That was the last. We've had enough time for deliberation, Mr. Cuthbert. Are you able to prove the defendant's motive, or not? I'm not, Your Honor. At least, not yet. It's clear we won't get anywhere until we confirm the state of William Frega's will. And we can easily confirm that tomorrow morning, when William Frega's will is read to his family. How did you... you mad. Stay mad. I see. His will is read. It will become public record. Suppose I have no choice but to suspend the trial until such time that William Frega's will is read.
Objection.
This is ludicrous. The case against my client is completely outrageous. I spent the entire court proceedings arguing if her motive even exists. The prosecution has very little evidence that physically implicates my client. Timora, you clearly don't believe that the defendant had anything to do with the murder. Of course I don't. She's completely innocent. Well, if your client didn't murder the victim, who did? Ah, hit him with the who did it. Sneaky little... Your Honor, with no other suspects, are you in a position to pass a verdict? No, I am not. Mr. Cuthbert is correct. The court does not have enough information to pass a verdict. Feels good to be the one to be like, well then who did it? Feels good to be that guy for once. Till the Inquisition has time to investigate these new developments, I'll be suspending today's trial. We resume the trial tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned. Got him. Well, that happened. Sorry, I kind of acted without thinking. Everything that happened today, I can't believe that Steel One somehow knew you would do that. Right? That is strange. Did you seriously predict what I'd do off that one conversation? Considering how things turned out, you suppose she was right on the mark. It was still a big leap of faith. Anyways, we have some time to ourselves. Very much like to catch up on some sleep. Yeah, today's been exhausting. For a lot of reasons. It was only just started. I have no idea who Beatrice's accomplice was. Will reading was just an opportunity to stall for time. The question remains, who really murdered William Frege? What the hell was that? Why is your son filling in for Arya? Listen, I have the situation under control. That's true. I hate to see the situation you consider out of control. Eris, father was not pleased with today's developments. He promised that the verdict would be passed before William Frege's will became public record. This has thrown quite a wrench in our plans. I understand. Cuthbert is just confused, not a threat to us. I don't hope you're right, Timora. Or else your poor ward might suffer the same fate as prosecutors. Oh my god. Yeah, it's the eye taker. Crazy. House Frege is too important of a prize for us to let go. Bring us results, Timora, or else we'll continue to take more drastic measures. Oh boy. First time since the Lord's Ball. Finally able to get some sleep. We woke this morning refreshed, but also a little anxious about the results of the will reading. We arrive back at Frege Manor and see that Beatrice, Leif, Miriam, and Von Sanctus have all gathered, along with Miss Timora, who is accompanying Beatrice as her attorney. Not really sure what to say to her after everything you've done. The air still feels too awkward to approach her and talk about it. This sprite again. Executor. Thank you all for coming here today. As William Frega's close associate, I must express my deepest condolences for your loss. I think I speak for all of Wyverngard when I say, enough, just get on with it. Damn. Very well then. Straight to the point, Lord Frega's will was magically sealed when it was given to me. He asked me, his executor, not to submit it to the courts for probate until after his death. Although I imagine none of us expected such a time to come so suddenly. Anyways, Lord Frega's assets including sole ownership of several banking houses throughout Wyverngard, 10 million gold in various investments. 10 million. 10 million gold. You can't even begin to imagine what anyone could do with even a fraction of that wealth. And lastly, sole control and ownership of the Frega noble house. He takes a large envelope and uses a rune stone to dispel the magical seal on it. I, William Frega, being of sound mind and body, do hereby declare this to be my last will and testament. I hereby give, devise, and bequeath all of my assets and property, both real and personal, to Jaden von Sanctus, provided that he enters into a legal binding engagement with my daughter, Leif Frega, within 6 months of the date of my death. What? That's... okay. William must have added that addendum to prevent von Sanctus from trying to steal his empire. But a legal binding engagement is predicted on Leif accepting it. She clearly doesn't want to go through with it, so she simply waited 6 months. Von Sanctus wouldn't have a claim to the estate. Well, there's that. In the event that Jaden von Sanctus does not enter into such an engagement within the specified time frame, my assets and property shall be distributed as such. All of House Frega will be divided equally among my children, as per the laws of our kingdom. Right, William Frega never disinherited Beatrice, to make Miriam's testimony false. Since Beatrice would receive a portion of William's inheritance, she had a motive to commit the murder. Looking at Miriam, it's hard to read her expression, but something appears to be on her mind. Without a word, she walks out of the room, ignoring both Beatrice and Leif. Leif, on the other hand, seems to be in good spirits. This is great, Beatrice. You can lead House Frega now, just as it should have been. Actually, about that. In light of recent events, I believe I should clarify one thing. As per the Slayer rule, if Beatrice Frega is found guilty in the current court case, her inheritance will be revoked and divided between you and your sister. Ah. I see. Shouldn't feel so happy for myself. This can't be all, can it? Surely William added a note of Leif's obligation to marry my son. Not sure what you're trying to imply. Leif Frega is an adult with legal autonomy. She's free to make whatever decision she wishes about who she legally marries. Now if you'll excuse me. Oh, Von Sanctus, you're fucked. Not finished yet. Back here. I'd love to catch up with you, Leif, but I was only allowed out of my cell to attend the reading. You notice an Inquisition Knight outside the door. He seems to be watching Beatrice intently. Don't worry. I'm sure once this misunderstanding is resolved, we'll talk all we want about our family's future. Of course. Group of Knights leads Beatrice out of the manor, and Leif follows after them, leaving you and Celeste alone with Miss Timora. Huh. About what I did. Look, I'm not angry, Cuthbert. Oh. It was an extremely unforeseen situation. The one clearly put you on the spot. No pressure to do something, and you made a rash decision. But I'm sure the court will understand if you withdraw. Wait, what? Cuthbert, you're not a prosecutor. You know that, right? Didn't you become an attorney to defend persecuted mages? But Beatrice is guilty. I saw it. I'm not going to argue about this again. You are going to withdraw. It's not up for discussion. Always regarded and respected Miss Timora. I suppose that's always made you deeply scared of disappointing her. Perhaps she's right. No, she knows more about what's going on than you do. She's still your mentor. I don't know, man. Want to believe that. You really do. Deep down, you know that this is wrong. Miss Timora may believe in Beatrice's innocence, You can't just abandon this case and let her escape justice. Your hands are trembling. I'm scared right now. You know what you have to say. The words won't leave your mouth. Behind you, feel Celeste hold your trembling hand. It's warm and comforting. It's the same sensation you felt back then. Now you can feel it through her hand. It's as if she's silently telling you that you know what you have to do. Anxiety fades and you take a deep breath. I'm not going to do that, Stymora. Why? Said it yourself. Our court system needs a defense attorney and a prosecutor of equal power to keep things fair. But that's not what I'm not going to withdraw. Believe in Beatrice's innocence, and if you truly believe you're on the right side, prove it by beating me. Fine. Do what you want, but you're only going to make things harder for everyone. Woo! there was like a falling sound effect. As soon as Miss Timera steps out of the room, your body drops to the floor. Her bravery you felt got replaced with an extreme amount of fatigue. Good lord. First time I've ever spoken to her like that. You still did it. You stood your ground. Figuratively, I mean. Right now, you're just kind of sitting on the floor. Yeah, you take a moment. Can we go back to the ballroom? Return to the ballroom and take a moment to recover.